Hello everyone and welcome to D1 Since Day One with Bella McCullough. I am your host, Bella McCullough, and today we're going to be talking about a topic near and dear to our hearts in the sports world, athletes and mental health. So we're going to be talking about the uprising in suicide rates within college athletes, especially in the NCAA, where it has now nearly doubled in the past 20 years. So I think it's really important to even talk about this because it kind of connects back to hazing and other factors that might lead to it, as well as staying within regulations for your team. So let's kind of define suicide and then define what a lot of what kind of has happened and understand what's going on. So suicide is the act of taking one's life, and so that can be within any means that they use, and it's not something that is perceived as something that is okay to talk about and process and have a open and honest conversation about, especially as student athletes. We're expected to have strong mental health and be mentally tough. And so that's where we have a lot of issues, but it actually ends up coming from a lot of factors. It could be from hazing, it could be from health problems, it could be from getting caught taking PEDs or other mental health issues. It can come from a plethora of different avenues that causes this mental health shift. We've seen it happen at Stanford with the Stanford goalkeeper. We've seen it happen in lacrosse. We've seen it happen everybody, and it's happened at every single division of athletics, and it really has just shifted how people perceive and understand the world of sports. And so as we talked and go to understand it, it's really important to know that it's okay to talk about your mental health, and it's okay to understand that hey, not everything is okay, and ask for help. And so as we kind of continue to talk about this, you can check the link in my bio. It has the hotline number as well as other resources if you need help. Please reach out and use those if need be. But there's been a double amount of student athletes that have taken their life within the past 20 years. So it went from a 7.5% average into a 15% average, which is a huge jump and a significant jump to notice. And it has continued to grow steadily throughout these years. And I think it's something that we need to acknowledge. Why is this happening? Why are student athletes not receiving the care or the priority they need? And if that's leading to burnout or harm or anything else. And so a lot of times what we hear from coaches, and I've heard a lot of student athletes talk about in articles and surveys and everything, is say burnout and being told they have to be mentally tough and there's nowhere to go. And so that's really difficult for a lot of student athletes. And it's something that is it ethical to push your players past their limits so they can be mentally tough? And that's something a lot of coaches, and especially the old school ones, have a hard time finding a balance for. They don't know what is being harsh versus mentally tough, or building up your players. And so it's difficult for athletes to know they can get help. So personally, I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm in therapy. But we're also seeing a huge uptake in NCAA schools providing free therapy and counseling to their athletes. And it's actually mandated that you have to have a sports psychologist on staff now per NCAA rules, which should not prevent but help alleviate the pressure and the lack of support for student athletes. And honestly, when it truly comes down to it, you have to talk about the issues. You have to destigmatize it. If we don't talk about it, then nothing will change. Nobody will understand why this is happening or how we can prevent it. So to kind of leave us here, this is something as a student athlete, I've dealt with mental health issues. I have friends who've dealt with mental health issues, and it's hard to see people we've lost and we care about go. So there's organizations now like Morgan's Message, One Love, which is actually for domestic violence. I'll leave their link down below as well, that are stepping up to help student athletes and help them understand that it's okay to not be okay. And that's it's going beyond just yourself and relying on your leadership and your team to get that support. And so it honestly comes down to themes of getting support to get past drug use, PED use, hazing problems, knowing when to find help, gambling problems, and going to your team leadership and knowing as a player in sport, you are a leader. And so finding that help and showing and setting the example of getting help is key. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank Morgan's Message. I use a lot of their information, ESPN, NCAA, as well as One Love for a lot of my research, and that's just off the top of my head. I'll leave the rest of my links in my bio. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.